So today we're going to take a look at what's going to happen if Germany tries to form an empire in 2025. Let's see who they declare war on, how they expand, and all those other stuff. But yeah, before we get into this video, first of all, I want to say that major alliances like NATO, CSTO, the EU, or the UN, they do not exist in my videos. If they would exist, they would not let these countries to expand. Also, I want to ask you guys to subscribe to the channel. We upload mapping videos here. But with all those things said, now let's get right into the video. Now, Germany right here is a pretty strong country, and for these guys to form an empire, they're just gonna have to militarize their country, which they've not done since World War II, for obvious reasons, you know. But because they've not been focusing on their military, their economy actually got really well, and now they're gonna be spending most of their money on their military. And basically, we can see that the Germans now start to militarize their country. They're recruiting more and more troops, importing weapons and stuff, and after all of this militarization process, we can see that the Germans are ready for their first military campaign. They sent an ultimatum to Austria demanding their annexation. These guys had no other choice but to accept the ultimatum. They don't want to get rolled over by the Germans. And after the annexation of Austria, we can see that the Germans now declare war on Denmark. This is purely for expansion purposes. So yeah, let's see what happens here. We can see that the Germans start to push in, but this time, instead of 6 hours, yeah, it turns into 12 hours. I guess that is called good progress, but the remaining parts of Denmark surrender as they had no hope of winning this war. And in a peace negotiation, we can see that all of Denmark got completely annexed. Greenland too has been completely annexed by the Germans because Greenland was a part of Denmark. But yeah, anyways, the Germans are going to continue their expansion. They're not going to stop here. We can see that they send an ultimatum to Luxembourg. These guys also accept the ultimatum. And after this ultimatum, we can see that Germany prepares its forces. Yeah, this time, I guess history is going to repeat itself. The Germans now declare war on Norway, just like how they did in World War II. And things are not looking good for Norway here. We can see that the German Navy now has arrived on the coast of Norway. They make a naval landing down here, and then they start to push around. Eventually, we can see that the capital city of Oslo was taken, and from here the Norwegian morale is at its all-time lowest. These German troops push up, they make a spearhead, and they disconnect the northern parts of Norway from the mainland. After some time, the southern parts surrender, and then this army starts to push up now, making some progress. A few years go by, and this was all the progress made by the Germans. But yeah, after all of this chaos, we can see that the remaining parts of Norway surrender. And again, in a peace negotiation, we can see that all of Norway got completely annexed by the German Empire. The Germans are now going to try to assemble their forces down here. Now they're going to be sending their forces down, once again purely for expansion purposes. By the way, the Germans are getting stronger and stronger every day. With every country they invade, they get more and more strong. Now, in order to have access to the Adriatic Sea and then to the Mediterranean Sea, we can see that the Germans declare war on Slovenia, which is a pretty weak country. They don't stand a chance against the German army. And yeah, the Germans push in, capturing the capital and eventually taking over the entire country. This was a pretty easy invasion, and Slovenia got completely annexed, giving the Germans an access to the Adriatic Sea. And yeah, things are going great for the Germans. We can see that the Germans sent another ultimatum. This was sent to Czechia, and the Germans demand some regions of Czechia. They kinda accept the ultimatum. Wow, these borders look hideous, but the Germans got what they wanted, at least for now. And at this point, the Germans have a pretty formidable army. They can pretty much go against any country they want here in Europe, except for Russia, maybe. And they don't even have a border with Russia, so they don't need to worry about it. Things are going great for these guys. They sent 2 more ultimatums after a few years. These ultimatums were sent to the Netherlands and Belgium. Belgium does accept the ultimatum of annexation, but the Dutch, they don't accept the ultimatum. And because of that, the Germans are now at war with the Netherlands. And things might not look great for the Netherlands. So let's see. We can see that the Germans start to push into the Netherlands from Belgium, with their main goal being capturing the capital city of Amsterdam. They also push in from mainland Germany, securing all of these regions, and then starting to push down. Eventually, we can see that both these armies now meet up, and a combined German army pushes towards the capital, which then fell alongside with some other major cities. After all of that, after they lost all of these regions, After their entire armies got destroyed, we can see that the remaining parts of the Netherlands surrender. They had no other options left. And now we can see that the entire region of Benelux is under the German control. This kind of reminds me of World War II Germany. But okay, the Germans, in order to secure their position in the North Sea, sent another ultimatum to Iceland. They don't demand their annexation, but they still demand some land. These guys were surrounded by the Germans, so yeah, they do accept the ultimatum. And now Germany got this piece of land over here, very straight borders, and now they have formed this kind of a belt. But even right now, their navy is not as formidable as the UK's navy, which might be a problem for them in the future. Now, after all these years, the German military is one of the best in the world. I'm predicting that it has to be the fourth strongest in the world after China and Russia, as these guys were spending a lot of money on their military. And because they are the fourth strongest country, they can go against pretty much any country they want right here. They lay their eyes on their old enemy, which in the modern day is their ally. But after some preparations, we can see that the Germans now go ahead and declare war on Poland. I think I may get a lot of hate for this, but I'm sorry to any Poles. So let's see. We can see that the Germans start to push in. They're securing the coastline, pushing in with all their forces. The Polish are surprised by this surprise attack. They're pretty much shocked right now. And because they couldn't push back the Germans are now in control of the entire coastline. We can see that the Germans also start to push in from the south, securing these vital regions of Poland, and then pushing in. Eventually, we can see that this army starts to push down. And both these armies now are pushing towards the capital city of Poland. They get to the capital city, and after a very bloody battle, we can see that the capital city of Poland fell. With this, the western parts of Poland surrender, but the Germans were not going to completely annex Poland, and so without having to continue this war, the Germans now draw some new borders right here. So let's see. We can see that the entire western parts of Poland were completely annexed. The eastern half is not vassalized, but there is a new pro-German government. But guys, at this point, pretty much every single European country is afraid of the German Empire and afraid of the German expansion, as these guys are a threat to everyone right now. We can see that the Germans continue sending ultimatums. They sent an ultimatum to Czechia, demanding their entire annexation. These guys saw what happened to Poland, so they go ahead and accept the ultimatum. Another ultimatum was sent to Croatia. Even these guys could not go against the Germans. The Germans, they're at their peak right now. They've gained a lot of land. They're very strong right now. They could go ahead and colonize some countries, maybe go for the old ones, But I think that at this point, they're already very strong and they won't need to expand all too much. But if they would want to expand, I think that they would expand to the west. They would definitely at some point declare war on France. And even though it would be a very bloody war, the Germans would ultimately win this war. I am sorry that I won't be able to cover this war with the French, but we all know the results. This is the result that we would get. But yeah, this is the German Empire at its peak. So this is going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me what you guys want to see in the future. And thank you for watching.